This is just a quick response to Greg Stoker's latest video, where he says that the majority of seats in the US government, which are held by Zionist Jews, has no bearing on foreign policy, and that it's not worth mentioning. It's got nothing to do with the current scenario. I love your work, dude, but that makes absolutely no sense, and I'm kind of uncertain as to whether that video of yours is AI or is it you. If you have 2% of your population are Jewish, but the majority of your seats, the highest seats in government, are held by Jews, which are probably Zionist Jews, that is absolutely problematic, because that is called minority rule. And that's what happened in apartheid South Africa. The minority, the 2%, were whites, and they held all the major seats in government. And then the government made decisions that benefited whites. So it's illogical, it's nonsensical to say that that doesn't have a bearing on what is happening with American policy. Obviously it does. Also, the Fed and all your central banks are owned by self-professed Ashkenaz Zionist Jews. Yes, they don't represent all Jews, and this is the Moloch sect. And Greg, you might not be aware of the Babylonian Talmud, which tells Babylonian observing Talmudic Jews to destroy all non-Jews. Okay, so there is a sect among the Jews, and I'm saying this as a Semite and as an Israelite. We all are aware, Arab, Middle Eastern people, we're all aware of this Moloch sect. It is absolutely Zionist Jews. It is absolutely associated with the Babylonian Talmud. And there is absolutely a clear and common sense link between having the majority seats in government held by Zionist Jews, and then they make decisions to benefit Israel and Zionist Jews. It's like, yeah, Greg, that's a clear connection. The other thing we need to realize is that the people in government who are Zionist Jews, the 2%, so minority rule in the American government. So that's an occupation, Greg. When you have a minority population or group holding the majority seat in your government, that is an occupation of the land. And these people have two passports. They have an American passport and they have an Israeli passport. That is called duplicity. That is duplicity. In no other nation in the world are you allowed to hold such a high seat in government with a passport from another nation, because nobody knows who you're serving. So American-owned media, which is, funny enough, Greg, owned 96% by Jews. That's just a fact. Those Hollywood stories and entertainment programs always make us afraid of the Russians or the KGB. Who's doing duplicity in the country? Who's hiding with their Russian passport in the cupboard? Meantime, right there, out front, in the cabinet, people are openly holding two passports. You cannot have a passport for another nation and the US nation and serve America. So, dude, I love your work, but I'm sorry, that's unfounded, and it's not anti-Semitic to say that it's problematic that 2% of your population have the majority seats in government, and that's minority rule, and yeah, that's a problem. The representation of Jews in the American government should represent the majority of the people. So when South African apartheid ended, we now have majority black people, we have Indian people, we have colored people. Colored's not a bad thing to say here, it's a whole identity. We have people from all the different races in South Africa are represented in government. And the majority in government are black people, because the majority of our nation is black people. So yeah, definitely, you're going down the wrong road here. You need to admit that you guys have been occupied by Zionist Jews. That's obvious, Greg.